What's going on, everybody? Thank you for joining me. Today's video is going to be all about how to estimate the value of a property. I had a ton of trouble with this when I first started, and to be honest, sometimes I still need help. So this video is going to help you figure out what the ARV is, or after repair value. Basically, in this video, I'm going to teach you, it's called running comps or comparable properties in order to gauge the value of your property. So this is surprisingly, it's used for a bunch of things. So you can use this for valuing rental properties, for fix and flips, and even if you're a wholesaler and not buying properties, you're still going to want to learn how to comp out properties because you won't be able to properly sell the deal to an end buyer if you yourself don't know what the valuation is, because then you're not going to price it properly. Comping properties is more of like an art and a skill. And so you'll see that in this video. You'll see this flip deal calculator on the screen right now. So we'll go through some of the vocabulary so we're all on the same page. I'm going to show you the math side of things. So metrics, you're going to compare your comp properties to the property you're trying to figure out the valuation for. And then there's going to be a little bit of art in there. Like you'll see later on in the video, there's some intangible things that you're going to need to put into your valuation. All right, so first we're going to go through the vocab. So we're all on the same page. So ARV right here, line 4 stands for after repair value, or what the property is worth when it's all fixed up. Minimum profit, this 10% ARV. So the 10% is an arbitrary number, but minimum profit is basically what is the minimum amount of profit that you are willing to take to purchase this deal. So a good rule of thumb is 10% of ARV. So let's say that this ARV was $500,000, and then your minimum profit would need to be $50,000 in order for you to do the deal. Again, this is an arbitrary number, but a lot of flippers buy, as low as 8% ARV, or sometimes they get very conservative where they need to be 15% or 20% of ARV. So my general rule of thumb, anything under $1 million is 10% of ARV, and anything above $1 million is subject to discretion. Usually we like to hit closer to 15 and even 20% ARVs when we're dealing in the multi-million dollar flip price point. So I'm going to delete this. Cool. Next is rehab costs. So rehab is just another word for renovation. So this is going to be what's your renovation cost for the deal, and we're going to go through that later on when we're figuring out a property to comp. We're going to do some estimate of rehab costs. Realtor commissions are when you're selling the property, you are going to have to pay a real estate agent in order to list the property and sell it. Typically, this is anywhere from 5 to 6% of the ARV. Next up is closing costs. So these are all the costs associated with your purchase or sale of the property. And usually it's around 1 to 2% of the purchase or sale price. Next up, utilities, taxes, and insurance. These vary from city to city, neighborhood to neighborhood. Insurance is really dependent on if you're in a high fire zone, a flood zone, or not. So this is up to your discretion, but generally we put a 1% placeholder. Monthly HOA. Now, a lot of properties are in an HOA, which is a homeowners association. Again, this is subject to the property. When we're comping out the property, we'll see if there's an HOA involved, and we can use that in the example. Loan amount is going to be what it says. It's the loan amount that you are going to be borrowing from the lender. Hold time is the amount of time it's going to take for you to renovate the property, list it, and then ultimately sell it. Typically, a flip will take anywhere from 6 to 8 months if it's an entry-level flip. Now, for the interest rate, this is just simply going to be the premium you pay for borrowing money from the lender. For a hard money loan, for example, in today's interest rate environment, I'm recording this on October 19th, 2023. For hard money, we're looking anywhere from 10% interest to anywhere from 13 to 14% interest. And even some of our private money lenders, we're paying them 14 or 15% to account for the higher interest rates. Points are a fee that the lender charges for giving you the loan. So a typical point is anywhere from 1 to 3 points on the loan balance. A point is a percentage of the loan balance. So let's say you have a $100,000 loan and the lender is charging you 1 point. That's 1% of $100,000 loan or $1,000 fee. Typically for our hard money loans, we're getting charged anywhere from 1 to 1.5 points, depending on the lender that we're using and depending on the amount of leverage we're taking on. Right here, this is just going to be your total money cost. So this is the sum of your holding costs, so your mortgage payments, and then the points and fees that you're paying to the lender. And then right here, these gray cells all auto-populate. So there's already formulas in them. I'm only filling in the light blue. Now, the last thing that you're going to need to know in your vocab is the max offer. So this is the this is the highest price you can pay given the expenses that you filled out and your minimum profit goal. So you'll see what I mean later on in the video when we actually get some real-time numbers in here. So that is going to be the vocab you'll need in order to use the calculators and just to get a good gauge on how things cost and the general vocab of properties. So let's get into it right here. So typically, let me move my face right here. We'll go on realtor.com. So you want to get practice comping properties, right? Whether or not you're going to buy the property. So I'll just search Lompoc. That's my hometown. And we'll search for some fixer-upper properties. You can practice any of these properties, but it's just a little easier to practice on a fixer-upper because there's value to be added. Generally, fixer-upper properties are sold for less of a premium than something that doesn't need any work or that's renovated. Let's see. So while you're searching, you're just looking for obvious signs of distress, especially if you're not familiar with price points in certain cities. So this property obviously does not look distressed. We're moving on. Let's see. This would be a updated comp. Let's see. Might need to go to the second page. Oh, look at this. Okay, 3983 Agena Way. This looks like it's distressed. You can tell by the yard. This fascia board looks a little dated. The roof looks old. So this might be a fixer. So let's try and comp it out. So what I like to do is we're on realtor.com right now. So a website that I actually like better than this is Zillow. Since we already found the address, I'll just plug it in on Zillow. And the reason why I like Zillow is that you can look at recently solds and it'll give you a map of all the recently sold. So you can look at these sold properties in the area of this property. So this is definitely distressed. Let's take a look at the pictures. I'm looking for, look, overgrown lawn. This brick facade is messed up. The garage looks old. So in my mind, I want to start looking at the flip calculator right here. So let's exit out of this. First thing I do is I enter in this purchase price cell right here. I generally just use what the listing price is, take it for face value, and then you can work it later. So 479,900. The next number that I like to figure out is the renovation cost. So let's go through the pictures. Let's see. Okay, so I don't expect you to get these rehab costs that I'm about to spit out. This is for my specific area, so please take this with a grain of salt. When you're looking at finding properties and estimating rehab costs, I would highly recommend you go to investor meetups and things like that. Talk to people, talk to contractors actually renovating homes in your area, and then get a good pricing on, hey, if I were to replace this roof, how much is it per square foot, So try and figure that out, but this is what I have for my area. So we'll do a new roof will cost maybe $15K. New garage, $3,000. Here we go. Landscaping, I'm assuming the backyard looks very similar to the front yard, so we'll put in maybe $4,000 for cleanup and maybe putting some drought resistant plants and things like that. Let's see. We're going to need to paint it. So exterior painting will run around $7,000. Okay. Nothing else that I see here. Let's see if there's more pictures of the inside. Okay, we have a better view. This is definitely distressed, so looks like we caught everything. We'll probably need some lighting and things like that, but we can put that in a miscellaneous budget. Okay, here's the inside. So what I'm looking for is, okay, popcorn ceiling, obviously outdated. This wood paneling, this is from the 60s or 70s, something like that. Shag carpet, single pane windows. This all needs to be replaced, right? So let's start adding this in line by line. So we can put in this removal of popcorn ceiling and removal of this wood paneling with the exterior paint. So that's going to be another 7 grand. Flooring, I would probably budget around $8,000 for flooring, because if you think about it, I believe the square footage of this property was around 1,300 square feet. It'll be maybe $250 a square foot for the basic entry level flip flooring, and then you need to add on labor for that, so that's 8 grand. Patio door needs to be replaced. I'm gonna assume that all the windows need to be replaced because it looks like there's 6 pictures, so we're probably not gonna get a good idea unless we go see it in person. I would put in another 10 grand for windows. So we're at 54,000 right now. Let's see what else is here. Cool, we have a kitchen. I like to see how big the kitchen is. This looks like a fairly small kitchen, so it's not going to be as intense of a rehab. We'll definitely need some new appliances, countertops, cabinets. Depending on the price point, we might be able to save the cabinets, but let's just budget for new cabinets just in case. We can see here this window's also old. We have an extra kitchen area. So I would say about 15 grand for the whole kitchen because it's pretty small. Let's see, another, I would say like 7,000 bucks for appliances. Let's see. Okay, bathrooms. Let's see how many bathrooms are, because this is obviously outdated. Okay, we have 2 bathrooms. Let's go in here. So I would say on average, one bathroom costs $7,000. So I would say $14,000 to fully gut these bathrooms. That would be like a new walk-in shower, shower tub, new toilets, vanities, hardware. All of these things are going to go into your renovation budget. Let's see. Okay. Next picture. So I'm just going through the pictures, assessing. So this is a pretty big yard. We just want some basic cleanup, right? Maybe clean this up right here. So we'll stick with our $4,000 landscaping budget. That should be enough. We're at around 90K right now. And that's it. So I believe I got everything down, a rough rehab budget right now. And then once I get my rehab budget, I like to estimate an additional 10 to 15% on top of that for miscellaneous and mess ups. So I would do 5% for miscellaneous and then another 10% on top of that for any contingency line items. You're bound to mess up on your first flip. So here's what I'll do. So we'll go 90,000 times 5%. So that'll take us to 94,500 for some miscellaneous, and then we're gonna times that by another 10% for contingency, right? We want to be safe. So we'll round up to the next 5,000. So $105,000 for the rehab. Cool. I'm going to work on the next of these property costs. So like I said, the average realtor commission is around 5 to 6%. We're going to put 5% on here. That you can usually get away with something like that. Now, closing costs are about 1 to 2% of the ARV. We'll put 2% to be safe, and then we'll put that 1% placeholder right here. We're looking at the listing. You can actually get a lot of good information from the listing, what updates may have taken place, if there's an HOA or not. Right here, it would say if there was an HOA and there's not. So we'll see right here, boom, $0 for HOA. Now, the next thing we're going to work on is the money side of things. So a renovation like this, I would classify it as a level above a cosmetic flip, because you're going to need to gut the inside. You're going to need to revamp the outside, but there's also that roof that's going to need to be fixed up. So I would say it's a level above cosmetic, which would probably take you between 6 to 8 months. I don't see this being above average flip. So I want to be conservative, and I'll estimate 8 months. The interest rate on this, if you're a rookie or you only have 1 or 2 deals under your plate, you're probably going to get between 11 and 12%. So I'm going to put 11 right there. And you're probably going to get charged 2 points. So I'll do 2 points right here. Okay, cool. So you see all these things are auto-populating. The last things we need to do is the ARV. So this is where all that math and art comes in. we're going to comp the property out. We're going to figure out what it's worth once we're done putting in this renovation budget, right? Let's see. So I did some boom, boom, boom. Okay. So right here, this is a comp line item. I'm going to pull this out really quickly. Here we go. So you see the calculators right here, and then we have this area for comp. So this is the subject property, right? This is what we're doing. Sale price, there's no sale price yet. What's the square footage? 1323. Lot size. I like to go into, where is it? Usually like, here we go, facts and features. Okay. Lot, we have 0.29 acres, so 0.29 acres. Beds and baths. We have a 3-bed, 2-bath. I just do 3/2. Distance, this is the property. This is a very important column, but just hold off on this for now. Sold, it's not sold yet. And then notes, I like to just label it, hey, this is a fixer. Kind of obvious, right? Cool. So now this is where we're going to actually figure out the value of the property. We have all this basic information in. Now let's see what we can do with it. Cool. So the next thing I like to do is you have this space up. I just click this X right here, and generally it'll take you to the neighborhood, right? So let's see. Apply. Cool. So the property is pending right now. So it's in this area. It's not going to show up, but it's right here in a Gina way. So how do we find sold properties? What we do is we're in Lompoc, we're in the city. We're going to click on sold, and it's going to come up with all of these things, right? The next thing I want you to do is for comps, the closer, like it's October right now. So the closer to October sales have happened with properties is the most accurate version of ARV you're going to get. So what I like to do is go into the more column, and it looks like it might already be, yeah, so sold in last. I like to put the last 6 months. It usually starts with any, right? So you have all these comps, and it's overwhelming. You might get a comp from like 2020 in here. So you want to go into more, sold in last 6 months. Excuse me, and then hit apply. So cool, we have these recent comps, and now let's just click one zoom. This is where our subject property is on a Gina way. Let's just go into Aldebaran, for example. So when you're looking for comps, you want to look for properties that are similar-ish in square footage and very close by. So this is literally a couple streets away. So we're going to click on this, and it was sold in July. So this is great. This is a pretty close to October. We're just going to simply fill in the information right here, and then I'll share with you what we're going to do next. So we'll put in the address, 91. Cool. Sale price is $632,000. Square footage, 1806. For lots, usually Home Details has really good. So check this out. I like to read the overviews because it shuts like listing agents will share what upgrades, right? Because they're trying to sell the home, so they want to sell what the upgrades are. So I love to read the overviews. You may not get this on all your properties, but when you do, they're really helpful. So like this says newer concrete, professionally tiled walk, master shower, double fireplaces, new windows, new gas furnace. Okay, cool. So there's a lot of different, and it's on a corner lot. So that's a premium generally in real estate. So that's awesome. So newer amenities. Okay, let's go into the facts and features. We're at 10,454 lot. Well, we're in acres right here. Let's just do square feet to acre calc. Okay, so remember it was 10,454. So we're at 0.24 acres. So bigger the lot, generally more of a premium, right? Let's see, we're at 3.2 for beds and baths. Distance, let's pull up Google Maps really quick. All right, 91 Aldebaran. And then our subject property is right here, 3983. Cool. So we're 0.6 miles away. That is close enough. If you're within like half a mile to a mile, that's okay. Especially because this is considered the same neighborhood in my hometown. And then, okay, look, so this auto-populated price per square foot, this is a really important metric to follow when you're comping properties. It's very time consuming, as you can see on this video, to comp out all these properties. Hopefully, if you follow what I have been teaching, you're going to be getting a ton of deal flow. Therefore, you're going to have to be more efficient with how you comp properties. This price per square foot metric will give you a very quick indicator as to whether or not the property that you're looking at acquiring is worth doing more research on to get a more granular ARV. Price per square foot is basically the sale price divided by the square footage of the home, and that gives you the price per square foot. And so let's say that this was, we wanted a quick and dirty analysis. We would multiply this price per square foot times our subject property square footage, and we'll get an estimated sale price. Now, I'll tell you why this is not going to be particularly useful for this example, but I'll go into that in just a minute. We'll get back into Aldebaran. So, cool. We're going to go sold, 7/7/2023, and then notes. So, let's check out the pictures. Looks like a nice property. Looks, well, manicured, nice tree. Garage looks good. It's a little old, right? There's some things that have not been upgraded, but we can see this looks like fresh paint on the cabinets, fresh paint on the door. We saw those upgrades in the overview of the Zillow listing. So, you know, it's good. So I would classify this as good condition. Whoops. Has some upgrades. Cool. Let's move on to the next comp. So we'll have that. All right, so that's comp number one. Ideally, you want to get 1 to 3 comps. 3 is the ideal target, right? Some areas you're just not going to be able to get that many comps, but let's see how many we can get on this example. Let's look at this one. So this comp, it's high price, but it's 2,600 square feet, and it's about double the size of our subject property, so I probably wouldn't really consider this one a comp. Let's go on to this one. Okay, this is close, so let's use it as a comp. 4163 Turas Ave. So our sale price was 635,000. Square footage was 1628. Let's go. It's a 4-4. Okay. Looks that's an odd layout for that amount of square footage. Going to home details for the rest. Cool. So comfort modern upgrades. 4-3. Okay, this is 3 baths, but this is 4. So let's just err on the side of being conservative, and we'll put 3. Why is this doing a date? That's weird. Roof has been replaced. Electrical and plumbing systems also upgraded. So these are all like high premiums. You know, you're not going to have to worry about this for 30 or 40 years now. And you have new flooring, paint. And so I would consider this a good rehab. This is going to be a great comp to go off of. Now let's find what the lot size is. 8276. Let's go back to our calculator. Okay, we're looking at 0.19 acres. Distance, we'll go into Google Maps again. 4163. This one is 0.5 miles, so it's a little closer. That's cool. Okay, price per square foot, pretty high, right? Let's see. 724. Okay, another good comp. So I would say, oh, well, you know what? Let's just double check the pictures. Cool. We have a manicured front lawn. Roof is definitely new. We got the paint, nice brick. It's a good looking property, right? Let's see. Okay, cool. Yep, fresh paint. We have recessed lighting. We have new windows, new flooring. Everything's pretty new. So the kitchen is old, but it looks like it's been painted and maintained. So I would say that it's, oh, we got new vanity. So I would say mostly renovated, lots of major upgrades. Cool. So these notes are going to be really important when we get to it. All right. So like I said, you need 2 to 3 comps. We have 2 right here. Let's go ahead and start some magic, right? So like I said, the price per square foot is going to be very important when you are getting the value of a property. So generally the higher the price per square foot, the higher the square foot, sorry, the lower the price per square foot. The lower their square footage, the higher the price per square foot. You can kind of see that going on here, right? So this is a lower square footage. This will likely command a higher price per square foot. That's just how things work, right? And so if this thing were fully renovated, what would the price per square foot be? So this comp is in good condition, and it has some upgrades, but I would say that our comp is going to be much closer to this 390 price per square foot property, because this has major upgrades and it has a lot of the minor cosmetic upgrades done. In my opinion, the only thing that they didn't do was replace the cabinets and countertops for the kitchen. Everything else has been done per the pictures, right? And so I would err closer to this price per square foot when we're guessing, not guessing, but formulating our price per square foot on this property. And this is a smaller square footage, and so I would assume that this is and our subject property, we're gonna fully rehab it, right, with this $105,000. So we're gonna command an even higher price per square foot. Let's just go ahead and do the same for right now, right here, and then let's see what this sale price turns out to be. So I'm multiplying this square footage times this. Okay, we're at about a 515 price per price. That's okay. Let's see. So what I said earlier, this is a lower square footage and it's going to be fully renovated. So I believe that this will have a higher price per square foot, right? I would think this is going to be somewhere at around 415 a square foot, and that will put us at a sale price of about 550,000. So this is what I would think our ARV is going to be, around 550,000. If you don't feel comfortable, kind of like, this is where the art comes in, right? The science part is right here, price per square foot, but the art is how much of a premium in the price per square foot is my property gonna get, because I have a full renovation completed. I have smaller square footage than the other properties, so you kind of have to finagle with the numbers. Once you come to a decent ARV, just as a second guess, I would suggest you call up 2 or 3 agents, and first you need to build relationships with local people in your area, but ask them, hey, I want to buy this property. I'm thinking of doing a full renovation, exterior and interior. What do you think it's going to be worth when it's all fixed up? And generally agents are more than happy to help you out as long as you don't abuse that privilege. So for now, we're going to say 415, and we're going to go back to our ARV calc. So we're going to be at 550. I like to put in the square footage right here. So let's see. Sorry, 1323. And before we get into all this, I like to put the square footages here because I want to see the final price per square foot, and I also want to see what the price per square foot is based on my renovation costs. That's going to be very helpful for you moving forward, unifying and streamlining your renovation costs. You could be like, oh, with a property like this, it's going to cost me $79 a foot in order to get it fully done. It'll get me $50 a foot if I just want to do light updates. So it'll be a very quick mental model for you to value properties. So that's why I like having these metrics here. And then right here is just investor names. So if you're raising private money, I like to put the investor names here in their payout so that your total profit is going to account for all of those expenses. So cool, we have everything filled out. As you can see, our minimum profit populated to 55,000, which is 10% of our ARV. And right here, this is where the max offer comes in. Now, finding a great deal is like finding a needle in a haystack, right? A lot of these deals you're going to be comping out are not going to be deals. Essentially, it's really just practice for you to get what properties are trading for in your area that you're looking to buy. So on this property in particular, based on our minimum profit of 55,000 and all of our expenses, we're looking at a negative $124,000 profit. Our max offer is around 300K, right? And this changes based on our minimum profit goals. So let's say our profit, let's say that we wanted to make 15% of ARV, right? Let's say we wanted to make 15% of ARV. So we'll do this. what's going on here? This times right here. So if we wanted to make more money, then our max offer would change to $272,000. So you see that relationship there. We'll change it back to 10% for purposes of this example. So we're at 300,000. Just to double check, we'll type in 300K in the purchase price. Cool. So we're at about 68,000, which is a little bit more than our minimum profit. And the reason why it's not exactly the same is because the loan balance changes. Therefore, the expenses for the loan change when you change your purchase price. So it won't be exactly the same, but you can kind of play around with the numbers until you get like a purchase price that you're interested in purchasing for. Like right here is the sweet spot. It would be like 310 to 313 for your offer price. And just because a property is listed for a certain price, it doesn't mean that you're going to need to offer that price. You offer what you can offer, and that's where your MAO comes in. So that is the video on how you can comp a property. DM me if you have any questions on Instagram, or I hope you found this video informational. So just hit me up if you ever have questions, and I'll see you in the next video.